We're good.
I did, but that's what I was thinking. I call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mission statement. I'll read the mission statement for the district. In partnership with the communities, the mission of Dilworth Glendon Felton School District is to educate individuals in an environment of trust and respect so they become self-directed, responsible, lifelong learners. Roll call. Looks like we've got all board members here. We also have
Minus Troy.
Minus Troy, that's right. And we've got Shannon's here. Shannon and Brittany Young is also here as well. Let's see. The agenda, do we have any changes to it?
The only changes to the agenda were we added a few more items under my report, so no business changes, just some of my reports.
So, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 5, this is public comments and rebel recognition. I don't think we have anybody here for public comments. All right, rebel recognition.
Yeah, I have a few things. Number one, congratulations to our knowledgeable team. They were at state in Creggans. My understanding is they got 8th place, but they were in 2nd for a while. So congratulations to Stacy Class and her team. That just happened this weekend, so congrats to them. And then speech. Got an email from Kathy Martin today. Isaac Olson and Ryland Knudsen will be competing in the final rounds in Brainerd, April 17th, that's this Thursday. And also Olivia Iverson will be competing in the semifinal round as well. So congratulations to them and good luck.
And also in the speech subsections, they held them last week, and now sections will be on Tuesday. Lots of kids going. So, any other rebel recognition?
We had a great music program over at the elementary, which was super fun, way cute. The many blessings to the music teachers and their ability to keep everybody musically motivated. It was phenomenal.
Well said.
little jokes and quips here and there to the kids that got them refocused. I thought it was really great. And then spring sports are off to a great start. Good luck to all of those. And good luck to all our kiddos taking their MCAs coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
That starts tomorrow. So
thank you for everybody who's prepped and got all that stuff ready.
Kids, study, get good night's sleep. Don't watch schoolwork.
May help them sleep.
That's a good point. Never thought about that.
Things
that put you to sleep.
All right. Very good. We'll go on to reports number 6. We'll start with 6.1, Food Service Director.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. Just kind of go over all the never dull moments that we have in our department. So currently, we still have the 2 sites. We are 17 staff and 1 on-call float. Our free and reduced data is sitting at just over 30%. Our summer feeding has been approved. Application has been approved through 2030. And we are fully staffed for summer feeding this year. Our farm to school updates, we were awarded another grant of $30,000 for this year. Our local spending since we've started has been just over $200,000, and that has been purchased, local foods within a 50-mile radius of the Glendon School. So it's pretty exciting. We do have a couple of brothers that are new that are going to be partnering with us. They're based out of Fargo, but they actually farm land in Dilworth, so they are pretty excited to do some vegetable growing for us. And I am still working on trying to get with the milk company out in,
I think.
yes, Monaga. So we will hopefully find out in the next month if we will be making that switch. So this year was a big year. We had our state reviews. We have finished our summer feeding, breakfast, lunch, and procurement reviews. So it's done. Some new initiatives that we got going on. We have transitioned the Dilworth lunchroom over into the kitchen department. And so we have hired supervision, breakfast and lunch custodial that grew us from 11 to 17 staff, but all the new staff are 3 to 3.5 hour positions just to cover that. We've been doing some recipe testing. We've done the ribs, the roast. We're currently working on a brisket, and our ovens also have a smoking function. So this summer, during summer feeding, we're going to try it out. That way, if we set the alarms off, we're not sending the kids. So we're going to try that. But this year, we've been doing a lot of slow cooking. So all of our roasts and things like that are actually started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and cook overnight into the next morning for lunch service. So it's been a pretty neat learning experience for staff and a great product for our kids. Cultural meals, we're getting down to our last one. May 8th, we have chicken curry with rice. Thank you to Amanda Olson over in Dilworth. She put together a wonderful informational slide for the elementary kiddos to know which each one was. So she did a fantastic job with that. We also did our special meals for the Native American heritage, the Thanksgiving and the Christmas this year. Our participation rates through today, 142 school days. We have breakfast and lunch. This year, our breakfast is down a little bit, but Brittany and I have worked together and shifted our breakfast back up into Rebel Road, so we have seen an increase again in that. In Glendon, we're down about 24 breakfasts a day. We haven't changed anything there, so I don't know if it's a decrease in enrollment or what exactly that is. But that kind of reflects in our lunch numbers at Glendon also. We're down about 15 meals a day there, whereas our Dilworth is up just over 50. But we have the addition of the Rebel kids that has pushed that forward. So staffing, total employees, 17 positions. We currently have no openings, but we have 2 new employees starting. We have a new custodian, and then we also have a new helper. I wanted to put in here the missed hours. I went back and looked today. The last few weeks have been a little crazy, where it seems like there's a lot going on, sick family members, surgeries, things. My staff the missed hours have been 870.75 hours so far this year, and I totally anticipate it will be over 1,000 hours. I've got one going out for surgery, and I've got another one who has a sick mother, so I do anticipate hitting that. Of that coverage, we do have one external float that has taken on another job, so she has worked 52 hours. All the rest of the hours have been covered internally, either by myself or by our leads. We have one internal float. Our warehouse guy covers. I've pulled from Glendon and shifted. We've done a lot of shifting this year and a lot of crossing over. So we have covered all them hours internally. So kudos to the staff for really stepping up and making it possible to do that. We have a lot going on with the USDA and different bills to watch. I have included in the back here, we have sugar regulations coming up, which we're staying ahead. Breakfast might be a little bit of a challenge there. We've tried to do more farm to school options at breakfast, but the kids still gravitate towards cereal and bars. We've really been trying to make that change, but it's that quick grab and go things that we're just really looking for. So we'll see how that impacts next year. on what things we can offer there. Sodium is coming in. I'm not worried about the sodium with our farm to school. Our sodium is really low, so I'm not too concerned with that. We're pretty good there. We do have bills that are out there. Minnesota has an HF 2201 Myers bill that is talking about not continuing 100% of the free meals. The state would look at setting a guideline, and then a certain percent would have to pay. To what that means for us, I don't know yet. Does that mean now I have to have my office gal full-time checking everybody's income or, you know, verifications? I just don't know yet. So I've been watching that. Kennedy has also introduced some bills into the Healthy Lunch for Healthy Kids Acts. And I included that in here also, which limits dyes and additives and some other ingredients, and then also prohibits ultra-processed food per the NOVA classification. And what that is on that last page. It talks about ultra-processed, you know, multiple steps. Cereals, soy burgers, yogurts, ready-to-heat meals, frozen pizzas, soft drinks, candy, all that stuff. You know, it's not a matter of whether we agree or disagree. I think food is very important, and we do need to look at these things, but we can't just target school food. It creates a challenge. If I can't serve pizza, but our kids can go up to the store and get pizza. I mean, it's not going to be sustainable for us. So these are just things that I am watching and seeing where they go, and we'll have any conversation with Mr. Hunstead. What is more to come? So.
Question.
Yes.
You had mentioned the 30% of the free and reduced rate. Have we seen an increase in that recently, or is that a pretty stable?
Yeah, it kind of goes up and down, but it has.
Have we had more families put in, submit the application or the information for that?
Most of our free and reduced comes through the state, so where they.
So we're still not getting increased participation there. Hopefully, maybe. I thought it looked higher, but I couldn't. Numbers are hard.
So they could be receiving medical assistance.
Sure. And then, what can that $30,000 grant be used for?
Anything Minnesota local grown or raised foods. So we will probably use the majority of that come in the fall when we're buying so many fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So.
And then I have to just tell everybody else on the board, I received an email, I think earlier this year, about the food diet question, and I was like, I have no idea. So I just sent her an email, and she sent a remarkable thing back, and this was months ago, so you clearly have been on top of that information and watching those and trying to be very cautious and aware. So I have full faith that whenever comes up that, you will be ready to roll.
Any other questions for Shannon?
Just one, we should chat it a little bit. Any ever more murmurs from the state or federal level at all about changing portion sizes for the high school kids at all? I know it's an uphill battle, I just didn't know if there was
Yeah,
any
it's
chatter.
an upward battle, and for us, we have done that outside of, and when we did our MDE review, there was a few comments, you know, about our portions being higher, but we're still within that range, so we're good, but yeah, that comes from a diet, you know, the dietitians push that end of it, so yeah, like our burgers are 4 ounce, and they say 2 ounce. We do a breakfast sandwich that has the biscuit, and I don't know if anybody has seen what our breakfast sandwich, but I should send you a picture. They said that that's too much at breakfast, we should cut that in half, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, there's no way, we're just not gonna do that. So we just finagled that a little bit, we do a breakfast bowl, so we can keep that portion there, but yeah, that's gonna be a forever battle with.
I was just curious if there are sugar and salt changes. You know what? The 250-pound pig doesn't need 3 chicken nuggets. He needs a little bit more.
And what MD comes back and says is, well, they have the salad bar. Well, I know, you know, Linden isn't as much of a veggie eater, but Dilworth is. Dilworth, I mean, our upcoming kids, they'll like that salad bar out. So, yeah, so hopefully more, but
I was just curious, that's all. If there was more chatter, I doubt it, but.
you know, if anything, they keep trying to deep. So,
And is that state rule or is that federal rule? Or
federal.
Federal.
So the USDA says, yep, they set the guidelines. The states can make it stricter, but they have to keep that in mind.
I just need to say this too, I'm a school lunch eater. I have been my whole life because I was a farm kid and we had eaten school lunch and you ate it all and blah, blah, blah. So last week I'm over here in Glendon and I had chicken kebabs. Oh my God. It was fantastic. It's like I was grilling it myself. Well, no, I wouldn't have done that one. But anyway, it was fantastic. So
And
I
we
just,
did chips and hummus. It was one of our cultural, and we only had 2 sword fights that whole day in the elementary.
yeah,
That's pretty good. So,
I just, yeah, it's.
Yeah, you do that.
I said, put on radar, 'cause
And about a month ago, and you can correct me if it's 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, barbecued ribs at the Dilworth site.
Mac and cheese.
I walked down and it was an egg salad day. I go down for egg salad every Thursday. They said, we don't have egg salad. And I went, what? And then barbecued ribs, I said, I'm good. So it was, anyway, just thank you. And it's also nice to know that we're spending that kind of money locally. It's been a wonderful thing. So thank you.
And I really try to focus, because when you ask farm to school, if you go out and talk, Minnesota considers the whole state of Minnesota farm to school. You know, different school districts will say, well, within a 200-mile radius. So I really honed in on 50 miles. I mean, that is truly what's impacting our district. And I feel like we're giving back. We're supporting, you know, our community just as our community supports us. So.
That's great. Anything else for Mrs. Nolan? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. All right, we'll go on to 6.2, Curriculum Director Report.
Everyone. Alrighty. I gave you all a handout. So like Shannon said, MCA testing is going to start tomorrow. So tomorrow through Thursday for middle school, tomorrow and Thursday for elementary, and then that'll go next week, and then April 30th is when we'll end. So we'll have preliminary results in a month. The first thing I want to show you is the curriculum cycle. So that's the second page you have there. So you can see how everything is outlined. I went through this with the DLT back in October, I believe. So some of you may have already seen this. This coming year, we will be fully aligned with our science curriculum. So that means elementary and middle school, high school we'll all have new science curriculum. Elementary, we've been using mystery science. That's what we're going with next year. But the teachers are they're aligning their reading curriculum along with that as well. So we're kind of supplementing there. Let's see. In the coming years, you'll see we have IED, music, CTE, facts, all of that. So we shouldn't be spending as much money as we are in the coming year. We are purchasing science. So we're going to go with Savvis or Inspire, McGraw-Hill. Leaning more towards Savvis, which is a little more expensive one. But we have gone with Savvis for our social studies curriculum and our reading curriculum. So I work with them quite a bit. They're a great company, very updated with technology, lots of great student materials, even for like ELL learners, special ed kids. So overall, they're awesome to work with. Our new curriculum this year, so we have new reading intervention curriculum for the elementary, new math intervention curriculum. So we use UFly, so that's what our classroom teachers are using for their small groups. And then our interventionist teachers are using that when they pull out. And then for math, that's what our interventionist teachers are using. Ready, set, go math. And then middle school, they're using Bridges, so that's what Barb Roloffs uses. She's having really good success with that. And then the middle school and the high school, they have new reading curriculum this year, which is going well. Middle school went a different route than high school, so they're going with a company called EV Academics. A lot more, I guess, project-based and novel studies. And then the high school is doing My
presentation from the DLT committee back in October, so this is what I went through, so I just want to make sure everyone saw it, so you know what was talked about and just update on that. So our focus areas for the year were curriculum mapping, our partnership with Lake Agassiz, and then our new assessments platform. So I'll kind of touch on each of those. So curriculum mapping, by April 30th, all of our certified teachers will have curriculum mapped in our shared drive. So if you want to see that, I can add you to that shared drive, but everyone has a spreadsheet where they've outlined their standards, the content, the technology they used, it's all on there. And then our partnership with Lake Agassiz, so we're really focusing on building our MTSS system. So that's multi-tiered systems of support. So if you think about, we have tier 1, everyone gets tier 1, so that would be like our reading curriculum. Everyone's getting CKLA Amplify. And then if some students need a little more support, they're gonna go to tier 2. So they're gonna work with an interventionist, they're going to use our U-Flag curriculum. So they're just getting a little bit more. And then our tier 3 students, which we have not had the capacity to do this year, they're getting more one-on-one support with a similar curriculum. It's just like short 10-minute bursts of instruction. So we already have supports in plan for next year to do tier 3. This year it wasn't feasible with our staff. And then beyond that would be like special ed programming. So that's kind of like the MTSS systems of support we have. We're excited to have a coordinator for next year. So she can be aligning everything at the elementary, at the middle school. What our current team is doing, so our WIN team, What I Need team, our interventionists are, the groupings are going really well. We're having lots of success with those. But they are going to be completing an all-school sweep, is what we call it, in May. So our classroom teachers, they administer the A reading, A math fast bridge assessment, and then our intervention team, they push in throughout the school and they do all of these sub-tests. So as you can see, I listed them out. Different grade levels have different tests. So letter names, word segmenting, letter sounds, nonsense words, number ID, number sequencing, decomposing, place values, story problems. So a kindergartner, they're going to be pulled and they're going to receive 7 of those 1-minute sub-tests. So they're going to find out, do they know all their letter names? Do they know their nonsense words? Do they know all their numbers? And then that will give us an idea of where to start for next year with them. With the middle school, Barb and Steph, they're working hard. They pull students who are missing out on those foundational skills. So there might be some 5th graders right now that can't blend the group together. So that's what they're working on those kids with. And they're pulling them during their non-core time. So it could be during music, it could be during science. And those are 25 minutes of instruction. So it's not, they're not missing the whole music class, just a little bit of it. And then we're excited next year when we work with Allison Stewart, how can we kind of hone in on that schedule and just kind of make it more efficient. The next thing that we're working with Lake Agassiz on is our Read Act training. So we are complete for the year. So letters, early childhood, that's letter EC there. All 5 of our teachers are trained, so they're good to go. Letters 1, we have 13 teachers that have completed letters 1, and then next year they'll move on to letters 2. We have 24 teachers and admin that have completed letters 2, so we are totally done. Check the box. And then OLA training, these are our secondary teachers. 9 of them are complete with that. So that is our middle school and high school special ed. And then once we get into the next phase, that'll be all language arts teachers at the secondary level. And then lastly, our last focus area for our new assessment platform, which is called FastBridge. So this is through the Read Act, and an improved screener we needed to use. So this is what was formerly called STAR. So we do this 3 times a year, September, January, and May. So we'll do this again May 5th through May 16th is our next window. And this test just tells us what skills students are missing, what skills students have mastered. If you look at the last handout, actually I'll go back to this schedule. I printed our elementary schedule for you. So you can see all of those green blocks that say reading one time and reading math time. So we have dedicated blocks for intervention time. So what I need time is what we call it. So during, let's see, kindergarten 8:40 to 9:05, that's when interventionists are going to get kids and they're pulling them out of the classroom and working with skills they're missing, or they may be working right outside their classroom at a bench. And then classroom teachers are working with the remaining students on they're doing small groups in their room, they're doing extension activities, things like that. So the morning is reading, the afternoon is math. And then the last handout, this is with all of the scores. I won't go through every single one, but when you look, when you look at, say, first grade reading, for example, you can see in the fall, conceded pass and low risk, that's really what we want to look at. So that was about 31% of students are passing. And then when you look at their winner percentage, WA means well above. So you want to take well above and low risk, and we're at 43%. So you can see we've made huge gains there. We're still trying to work out the kinks with 11th and 12th graders, so you won't see their scores on here. It's just hard when they get, so many electives to try to get them together to take the test. So hopefully this next round we get all students. Yeah, we've seen some really good gains. This is what I talked to the DLT about in October. So it's on the back of this page, I just kind of summarized everything. So our math scores, very good. We've had our curriculum in place since its 4th year. The middle school and high school curriculum is in its 3rd year, so now that we've stayed consistent and teachers are showing fidelity with the instruction, we're seeing really, really great scores. Our reading scores, they're improving. They're not quite where we want them to be, but elementary, we're in our 2nd year with that. Middle school, high school, we're in the 1st year, so hopefully with more years under our belts, we'll get more improvement. So that's great. Any questions?
I have one, on your sheet here, and then on this one, under 3, it says 6 to 12th grade is gonna get a new science curriculum, but on here it shows that science is due in the elementary. Are we getting an elementary science curriculum, or are we just pausing on that?
No, we will be using mystery science next year. So it's not really, we're getting a new one. We reviewed 3 different curriculums, and so the science curriculum that we reviewed, a few of them, they were just so big, like so much that there's a lot of content already in our reading curriculum. So mystery science is like 3 30-minute lessons a week. That's feasible for an elementary teacher. 5 45-minute lessons is not feasible in an elementary classroom. So instead of getting this huge comprehensive curriculum for science that we're not going to use everything, ideally, we went with the one that we're most used to, and that we can kind of align better to what we're using. Does that make sense?
So we're just not changing the curriculum, are they gonna get what they need to get into the 6th grade,
Yes.
science curriculum if we're not, following that same progression?
So when I say aligned, we're like aligned in the sense our purchases are aligned. We might not be using the same curriculum, but the purchasing year is the same, and we're going to make sure that we talk, like 5th grade is talking to 6th grade when they know what science they need to.
Sure, so the content is still gonna build the way it should.
Yes.
It's just they're using a different program to
Right,
get there.
and especially like K4, making sure we're hitting all the standards, because in 5th grade, they take a science MC test. So we need to make sure we're hitting what we need to hit in, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, so they're prepared for that test.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yep.
I'll just interject a little bit. The budget came into play a little bit on this one.
We had talked about it, so that's where I thought, I didn't think we were getting an elementary curriculum, but it
Yeah,
looks like we are.
we're just renewing mystery science because the price was right.
$1,500 versus $75,000.
So there was a little influence from the superintendent on this one with the curriculum director. I said, thanks for bringing 75,000, but anyway. So this was part of that evaluation. So the other thing that I guess I'm hoping will come from this is that our reading curriculum has some of that built in too, so that we can tie it together. And Brittany, you correct me if I'm wrong, but that was some of the conversation we had with your staff too. They said, hey, we have some science built into this. We can build off the mystery science and our reading curriculum. And so,
And they actually,
major investment in the reading curriculum. So
yeah, they felt good going with mystery science because they're used to it and they know it's not going to be so much,
Yeah,
Sure. I just worried about, a little bit about the STEM and us like losing some ground, in encouraging kids and stretching their minds in different ways if we're going to just give them small snapshots.
Right. And kits come with these, so we could possibly order kits, and then like with the STEM stuff, we hope to do some more stuff in our media center next year, like STEM activities and a bigger space. So that'll play into the too.
Go ahead. Nope, you bet.
For this one, the sports. Why, and it's probably just nomenclature, but in the fall, like it said conceded past, and then in the winter, it was W.
I don't know why they did that.
Sure, did the scoring model change?
No, it didn't.
Okay.
No, I don't know why they changed it.
Okay. And then changing the reading curriculum between STAR and Bridges, how do you gauge changes between the two? Because they score
That's
very
really
differently. Like the STAR scoring was very different than Bridges scoring. So do we lose visibility into how those kids are doing
You
in
mean
that
Fast Bridge?
transition? Excuse me, yes. STAR to Fast Bridge.
So I guess in regards to like the Fast Bridge, it's more aligned to MCAs. It just does a better job at predicting where they're at with MCAs. It's a lot more detailed, we get a lot more details and kind of what skills they're missing.
Sure.
So I guess it does a better job in that sense. The world reporting for teachers isn't as great as STAR. I know teachers are missing that aspect of it, but it does give way more depth to the reports.
Okay, so, but we're not able to say, like, it's not a smooth transition between a kid following STAR score reading and then transitioning into the new one.
Oh, no, they're completely different.
Completely different, okay.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm sorry, but in all my years, and I was the testing coordinator and I was the curriculum coordinator in previous districts. The STAR testing is wonderful, but it had, just my opinion, 0 or to 10% correlation to the MCA scores. In a previous district, we switched to FastBridge, and we noticed that it was almost a direct correlation. So if Brittany does well in FastBridge and her scores show here, that's what we're gonna see in the MCAs. We had STAR testing data for a decade that it was like, oh, they're doing really well here, and they can't hardly meet in the MCAs. It was like, what is missing? The one thing my past and my history shows me is FastBridge is if Brittany's doing well in FastBridge, she's gonna do well in MCAs. It just felt like we could track that kid better, and it aligned with it better, I guess, is maybe.
Doesn't it dial into kind of more what the specific areas of concern or issues are to FastBridge, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I looked at it, I was like, all right, that's deep, okay?
And even like all those sub-tests, I don't know if any of you with elementary kids got that report from your teacher during, I know you got the A reading and A math one, but like our kindergarten, they don't take A reading or A math, they just take the sub-tests. So you can see like, oh, they don't know A, B, F, D, they don't know these nonsense words. You guys know what I mean when I say nonsense words? Okay. So it just like drills into the skill a lot.
Yeah, and I just feel like the ranges are very large in the new scoring system. Like meeting is very large. And I think if we are confident it's teaching our kid, it is testing our kids to where they need to be to go into life versus scoring them against one test, the MCA, then I'm happy, right? But I just don't want us to build all of our curriculum based on meeting one MCA test.
Yeah, great. And, I mean, we had to go with this too because it was approved by the state. So that's another reason we had to go with FastBridge.
Yeah, it was happening whether we liked it or not.
Got it.
The good news, good news, and it's relative, because some of the points you bring up, Angela, are very important, right? My history with FastBridge has been more positive than the STAR test. And nothing wrong with the STAR test, but it's just different, and I guess it made more sense to me. So, yeah.
I had one more question, and then I promise I'll move on. Our win time is only reading and math. Like, is it one or the other for kiddos, or if they need both, are they able to take advantage of both?
So everyone gets both, but not everyone is leaving the classroom to meet with an interventionist.
Yeah. But if they do, like, need to leave the classroom for both, is that an option, or is it pulling away from the class too much? Okay.
So we don't have a certain amount of, I guess we start at the bottom and go up, how many slots we have. So like fourth grade, there's a lot of kids that are needing intervention services. Well, we only have so many slots, so, I mean, we could only get 20 kids. Number 21 might need to see an interventionist, but we don't have a slot. So the classroom teacher knows, okay, this is what this student is missing, so that's what I need to do in the classroom. So it doesn't matter if they're seeing an interventionist or a classroom teacher, they're still getting what they need. Thank you. Yep.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
On this chart, the blue boxes,
That's,
when we anticipate some standards in the IND or?
yep, new standards. Yep.
Anybody else have questions?
I'll just close with, this is one of the things that, because it was me in the past, in other districts, it's the one thing this district I didn't see, didn't have a purpose, didn't have intentionality, and as you saw through these handouts, there's some intentionality, so.
I like that there, you can, the teachers too can anticipate what's coming and they can look at it and they have time to think and test it out. And I think that's wonderful, and having your expertise to be able to balance that with and ask questions, I think, and yeah, we can look and say, okay, you know, this is where we're at, this is where we need to go.
And at year 0, that's where all the committee work happens. So that's not the first year we have it, that's when we go through all the presentations, we talk with the reps, we pilot test it, that's year 0.
I like the intentionality of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to 6.3, board committee reports, DLT.
We meet on Thursday.
We do, and we met the other time where you weren't invited, Nicole, so, but Laura was there. I don't know why Brittany was, oh, it's right, 'cause she's not on the team. I know, I'm sorry. I did have that straightened out, no, now.
Yes, I have it on my calendar for Thursday. I'm on
I
it.
really wanted to, oh my
I
goodness.
know.
And she
just keep
She forwarded it to me, but I didn't check and see it till too late, so I was like, oh, when is that meeting? She goes, yesterday.
Right,
What's that?
Brittany's not a DLT.
She is not anymore, and that was my mistake, because I kept wanting to invite Brittany instead of Nicole, and Nicole goes, hey, the meeting, yeah, I'm sorry, and so now we do have.
I'm coming on Thursday though.
That's awesome. But Laura, because she's still on it, was there.
I was there, and Kent presented to the group and went over all the middle school stuff. And I'm trying to remember if there was like what the specifics were, but I'm really kind of not.
Yeah, he just kind of went through
Just
this.
went through like what the programming
Yep.
are and the offerings and all, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know the students were pretty tired because they had just gotten back from Florida, so they weren't super vocal on any, you know.
It was the quietest they were ever.
They
Yeah,
were pretty quiet.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a lot of discussion, middle school, kind of what the schedule was, the electives that they have and the rotation and what next year, some changes. Talked about recess, that the teachers were managing that now. And that is going smoother. Yeah, and then I did some questions from the crowd when he was done, so I talked a little bit about budget and legislation and kind of a closure on that. And this week, Thursday, we have it again, which we just talked about. Nicole will get to be invited this time. And Brittany actually is going to be there present because it's elementary's time to talk. So we had high school, we had middle school, and now it'll be elementary. So Brittany will be there on Thursday morning. So.
Yeah, any questions for DLT? All right, go on to personal. So we met, well back now, a week and a half ago, I think. And so just a few notes there. You know, obviously we have some budget constraints coming up, and so we're looking how to make the personnel budget work with our budget. And it's like we're trying to do that through attrition where we can, you know, with folks retiring and whatnot. We have an elementary principal positions coming up, it's been posted. Interventionists, we changed the model for interventionists, and with the eye towards getting more time and actually saving some money at the same time. And it's worked out better than we had hoped. Allison Stewart's going to move to be the MTS coordinator, but we look to have several of the staff coming back, which is great. And really looks like the kiddos are going to be able to get more time with interventions. So that's a real positive. Negotiations, and I'll do a negotiations update, but we are working on negotiations with the certified staff, the confidential staff, and looking to start negotiations with transportation. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got on personnel. Any questions? All right, we'll go on to negotiations, and I think I've got that too. Okay, so I just wrote some stuff out here on negotiations. We're working through the negotiations on certified staff. We're pretty much well through the language portion of the contract. There's not been a whole lot of real meaty issues, but trying to get things to align, clarifying some language here and there. And we're working with staff. It's been actually very good. Everyone seems to be aligned, so we just about have some things wrapped up, but I think the teacher group is looking at getting some language to us on one particular area having to do with accrued time. And so just very thankful for those folks. We just started talking about money, and I think we made a proposal amount to just under 6% for 2 years. Looking at getting something back from the certified staff. They should be proposing something, and we have negotiations again on Wednesday. So that's what I have for negotiations. Unless anybody got anything, any questions or? All right, go on to D, Lake Exit Club.
Not a whole lot. The meeting went pretty smooth. Like anything, it's finishing up the year, prepping for next year, approval of calendar year, looking at some spots where they needed to get some hires and prepping for next year. Their numbers were up from last year to this year, but that's also because DGF joined, so they just had a lot of good things to say. They were moving in a direction that they felt pretty positive. They are really happy and excited with DGF joining for some other opportunities that it presents. And like a lot of things, it's just they're plugging away to see what other things they need to bring to the table because the group got larger.
I have a question on the co-op. So the staff that we had that went to the co-op is now the co-op staff. Is it, like, if they feel like moving that staff, even though we kind of said like, oh, they're probably gonna stay here, do they need to, they probably don't need to, but do you think they'll consult, I don't know if they say that, consult with Shannon on like moving our staff to other places?
Yep, we talk, they meet with the principals and talk about those things. They talk with us. Scott and or Sarah joins our principal meetings and our admin meetings, and we discuss all of that. So just like anybody else, for example, our speech numbers changed a little bit, and they had to hire a speech person, and somebody retire here.
Yeah.
And then they ended up hiring a person. They gave the person the option to be our employee or theirs. And it kind of went back and forth a little bit, and they decided to be their employee, which was fine, but they're going to serve us. With the knowing, or the understanding, I should say, is that if our numbers reduce, okay, maybe somebody has to shift. And that's some of what's happening with some of the staff that they just took. It's not perfect like they're all ours still, because our numbers showed that we didn't need that much. So then there was some adjustments, which our students are still being met, and those are discussions they have with the principals. It's like, okay, how many hours or how many minutes are in a part of an IEP or whatever, but yeah. So that's the good thing. If we needed 0.8 and we didn't need full-time, we're saving that money. But on the other hand, we want to make sure that staff has some stability and, where are they going? I think maybe that's where you're going with that, or question.
Yeah, just wondering if we presume they were gonna stay with us, and then they're being told they have to go somewhere else, but that's the co-op's final decision because they're an employee of the co-op, correct?
Yes, with a lot of say from us.
Okay.
Yep, but there is nothing that hasn't happened that hasn't been discussed, I'll say
Okay.
that. Yep,
That's good.
yep, yep,
Perfect.
yep, for sure. No, it's a good question.
Any other questions for Micah? All right, we'll go on to 6.5, superintendent report.
Yeah, so foundation, just that we had a foundation meeting last Wednesday. The foundation's getting really close to getting things going. There was, one of the things that slowed the group down was making sure the dollars for scholars money was transferred correctly, that the foundation had the authority to do anything because Dollars for Scholars was passing it on. And just that transition was challenging, I'll just say it like that. Matt Ahonen, who's the treasurer for the foundation, has worked with the Dollars for Scholars previous group. He's had multiple meetings, he's got at the bank, and right now he feels like it's all coming together. And also that no senior this year will lose out from any Dollars for Scholars scholarship because they're ready now to work for that. So that was, I guess, the biggest challenge is that we didn't really think was gonna be that big a challenge, and it ended up being a big deal. They're getting very close then. The marketing group is getting together to say, okay, are we getting ready to send out a letter asking for those initial donors and whatnot. So getting very close. It was nice that it was in person this time instead of remotely. So I shared with them too. I have a lot of people excited about what that can be for us in the future. So, for me, I like to drive through McDonald's and get my burger. I'd like to go to the foundation and get my money. Anyway, but it takes time, and we have to realize that I want to do it right, or they want to do it right, and I do appreciate that. So it's still working. We've had a lot of people reach out to them. They had a list at something, was it back to school or kindergarten roundup or somewhere they had a sign-up sheet, and they had over 40-some people sign up that they wanted to help in some capacity. So that was really nice to hear. The meetings are kind of just the board of directors right now because they're not fun meetings. They're just more businessy. And now they're already talking, other people have reached out to this group saying, hey, I want to help. Tell me when you're ready. I want to be a partner or be a support. So yeah, it was just a real positive meeting, going in a better direction and knowing that the Dollars for Scholars was taken care of. So principal posting, that we've talked about that. The posting is it closed today. I'm going to be calling candidates tomorrow. Met with a couple of teachers today asking them to be on the committee. They said yes. I'm looking at next Tuesday, hopefully, but again, I got to reach out to the candidates to make sure that works. So that'll be next week. I was going to do it this week, but Thursday was too quick, and Good Friday, we're going to wait. So, okay. Graduation representative. Oh, that's for you guys. So something to think about after. Andrea needs to know in the office, and I think, David, you would like to be a part of that this year. We do need one other board member to be on stage for graduation, so.
I've never done it.
Oh.
Hey, Laura.
Well, there you go. Easy.
Thank you.
I've never done it, so.
Did you tell her about the speech that she had? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's in for it.
Well, they were pointing at me for a speech. I was like, I volunteered for another one. I'm not doing two.
Yeah, I remember,
That was,
Yeah.
You have a graduate, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole, 2.
No, next year.
Next year.
Don't speed that up anymore. No,
It's a
no,
We all gained here right
next
there.
year. I don't know that I would be good for that when my child graduates. I might be a mess.
You're supposed to be a mess, that's important.
I know, but in front of everybody is not necessary.
Well, it
We'll see.
sounds like we
I got a
have
year to
this
work
group
with it.
taken care of. Thank you, Laura and David. I think we'll pass it on, Brittany, or Brittany,
just
no, I'm saying
double
Brittany
checking
Brooke.
my
Perfect.
Make sure you're not booked that time.
yeah.
Next one on there, I have the Family Healthcare Mobile Dental Update. I have some numbers for you that was shared with me by Family Healthcare. 13 school days where we had dental care was provided. They visited every month from November 24th, and they will through May 25th. They've had 169 total dental visits. That's fantastic. 84% of the visits were covered by Minnesota Medicaid, assisting exactly the students that we want, which is great. 64 unique DGF students. We have 32 DGF elementary, 32 middle school and high school. I should have maybe read this more. 72% of the students had 2 or more dental visits during the school year. Of the 52 unique dental treatment plans, 46 of them were able to be fully completed with mobile dental services. So they were able to start and finish at the mobile unit, which is fantastic. 45 students received 87 restorative visits. Yeah, so she just wanted to give me an update, and I thought, oh, that was perfect, so something to share with you guys. It's very nice that they come, and obviously it's getting use, and we're serving kids that need service. Yeah.
We're working with optometrists next year as well.
Cool.
Or nurses, starting that as well.
Sweet, that's great.
Yeah, so good news there. About MSBA legislative handout. Oh, I gave you a handout, and this is from MSBA. I think I gave it to everybody, and this just it's just information. There's a lot going on, right? And last Friday was a date that they got to set budgets. You can see there for the FY 26-27 what the governor, what the Senate, what the House is thinking about education and pensions. You can see the FY 2029 investments. There's a bunch of bills listed in here and other information. I just wanted to make sure you saw it. I talk about this a lot with you, so you've heard some of this from me, but there's always something new going on. And so, yeah, it's just a lot of information. So if you have questions or anything, I did have a meeting last Friday from home with area superintendents to talk a lot about this. And Clay County superintendents, we sent an additional letter to Representative Jim Joy, Senator Kupek, and Senator Johnson, asking if we can be a pilot. If the whole state doesn't want to do it, as far as the flex spending, could Clay County be a pilot for them? So we'll see.
I think the LOR bill.
LOR is it's been really quiet. Tomorrow morning, every Tuesday morning, I get on with MREA. They give us a legislative update. That one has got quieter and quieter.
Yeah.
So unfortunately for us, it's a funding thing. Senator Kupek does have a bill with equalization, which would help us a lot. It's also a very expensive bill. It's going to cost about $143 million, I think it is, over 2 years. And so they're kind of going, well, thanks, good idea, but we don't have any money. So it's just difficult right now.
I have a question on this paid leave one.
Yes.
Is that like FMLA paid leave, or is it like funeral paid leave, or is it sick and vacation time?
This is to take care or to be a caregiver for somebody in need. So this is not law yet. This is supposed to be implemented in January. Well, it's supposed to be implemented in January. This was passed before, but the implementation date is January. And so it hasn't happened yet. There's a portion of legislators that want to pause it and kick it back another year and don't start it now because we're not ready for it. And it's not just schools, it's every business in the state, in the Chamber of Commerce for every region has been down there saying, can you please put pause on this? Not so sure it'll be paused. And so that's going to affect all of us. And so when somebody needs to take a leave, 12 weeks, 20 weeks, to take care for a parent, it's got a purpose. It's just going to put employers in a
So it would be similar leave for an FMLA type
very similar
purpose,
Yep,
but it's just that 50-50 contribution split.
it is. Yeah.
That's where I was confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you were asking about how it's going to get taxed or how it's going to be
Yeah, so
paid
it,
for.
like,
50-50.
yeah, you're just always putting into this bank so that if you need it, then it's there.
Yes, and it's a statewide deal, so it's not like DGF paying, supplementing DGF.
Sure.
Our employees and the school district are putting money into that. So when anybody, it's to
Oh, and the
cover
rest of the
everybody.
state, so it could cover somebody in Rochester
Or Rochester can cover
Or
somebody in
you,
DGF,
okay.
yeah.
be run just a little bit like unemployment.
Gotcha.
But,
Very similar.
The
Yep,
other stuff
it's a
we-
0.88%, and they're looking at a split of 0.44 for the employee and 0.44% for the employee, or is what they're talking about. There's a lot of discussion on that right now. Actually, it's a super hot topic, so. Yeah. That's all I have.
all right, any questions for Shannon? I just want to throw out a thank you to all those folks that are working on the foundation and the Family Healthcare Mobile Dental update. Just wonderful that you're giving back to the kids. Okay, we'll move on to number 7. This is to approve the regular meeting minutes on March 24th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Motion by Nicole, do I have a second? Second by Angela. Any questions or discussions? This hearing aid doesn't work as well as that hearing aid, I think.
He's got a good hearing aid on
Yeah.
one side and none on the other.
Any questions or discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to number 8. This is consent agenda to approve the bills for April 2025 in the amount of,
$201,187.09.
right, your treasurer's monthly budget report that's in your packet. Then also to approve the resignation of the Gamer Food Service effective April 4th, 2025, and approve the resignation of Patricia Latney, Food Service, effective April 7th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Brittany. Do I have a second? Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. On to 9.1, this is to approve the certified contract for Elizabeth Noggle, Middle School Language Arts, BA Step 1, effective the start of the 25-26 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Any questions or discussion?
This is to fill the retirement that we had earlier this year. So,
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. On to 9.2, this is to approve the following ESY contract for the summer of 2025. Susan Morganson, teacher, $35 an hour up to 28 hours, at $25 an hour up to 7 hours. Matt Retzer, teacher, $35 an hour up to 21 hours, $25 an hour up to 7 hours. Stacy Jensen, para, $19.50 per hour up to 49 hours. And Elda Longoria, para, $19.33 an hour up to 49 hours. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Brittany. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Laura. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.3, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Rahina Thompson, custodian class 2, step 1, effective April 2nd, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Nicole, do I have a second? Second by Angela. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 9.4, this is to approve the certified contract for Solveig Magnuson, early childhood BA, step 2, effective the start of the 2025-2026 school year. Do I have a motion? Motion by Laura. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brent. Any questions or discussion?
The numbers must have went up.
yep, and we were, back when we had to approve the two coming off, we knew we were going to be in pretty good shape pretty quick, and it ended up being that way, so we were right back. We don't have enough for both of them yet. I talked to Tracy today. She's optimistic that we can get there, but we're not there yet.
Just waiting for
Yep,
numbers.
yep, so, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. On to 9.5, this is to approve the non non-certified contract for Samuel Logan Food Service Class 2, Step 4, effective April 16, 2005. Do I have a motion? Motion by Angela. Do I have a second? Second by Nicole. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to 9.6, this is to approve the non-certified contract for Melinda Labs custodian, Class 2, Step 1, effective April 9, 2025. Do I have a motion? Motion by Laura. Do I have a second? Second by Brittany. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On number 10, this is board comments and future agenda items. Next board meeting will be Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 6 p.m. here in the DGF Community Room in Linden. And